What is happening, DiBlankers? My name is Dion and welcome to Life is Feudal, the intermediate tutorial. My first ever video of Life is Feudal. We did the basic guide to survival and just how to get your first steps into this game, like controls, also making your crafting equipment, and just the initial steps of when you actually get into the game. But this is going to be the intermediate tutorial, so everything that comes after that basic stage of when you actually start getting a village down, and this is actually before the advanced stage when you get castles and that sort of stuff. Now, as you can see, I have come a long way and we have actually formed a village here, so I've got quite a bit of a playground to mess with and quite a lot that I have to offer you guys to teach you. So what I'm going to do to break this down to make it really easy and make it easier for you guys so that you can like go to sections of the video that you think might be more relevant to what you're doing is I'm going to talk about each row of the skill tree and then show you what you can actually do from that. So the first row is mining and everything up until foraging. Now in the first video I showed you how you could actually go from prospecting and finding ores, but a quick brief description of how to do it. What you do is you click like anywhere on the ground, literally like anywhere. You can go prospecting and you can search for like copper, iron, silver, gold. Depending on how high your prospecting is, what level it is, then you can find rarer like ores or materials, and this really goes to say with all skills. The higher the level it is, the more you can actually get out of that skill. So for example, if I want to find some iron, I just go into iron, I start like a search radius of 22. If I find that there's a trace amount of elements, then I'll break it down into something like, you know, 16 or 16, 14, 12 until it says nothing is found. Then I'll move over to the side, for example, see if it's found there, and I'll just home in until I'm actually really close, like say 2 for example. You need to get down to 2 if you want to get a mine. You'll do something like I did over here when I first found iron. You'll just dig straight on into the ground by clicking the actual slope and just going to terraforming and digging a tunnel. So you actually need, well, this is another skill that comes in handy, terraforming over here. It needs to be level 60 so you can dig tunnels. I don't think you actually need to dig a tunnel, but this is what really helped with us and what we did. We just dug a tunnel, but I'm sure you could like lower the ground or something, you know, something like that. But digging a tunnel is really efficient. So once that happens and you've dug a tunnel enough, it actually starts digging into the slope. It takes a long time, like 20 shovels with your shovel, and eventually it'll make a shaft. And once you're in here, if you just go anywhere on the wall, for example like mining, I can mine ore, and it gives you a lot more iron ore than it would if you were just doing the terraforming, like digging the tunnel. And so you've noticed once you can actually mine from a shaft, your mining level will start going up. And once that happens, you can start smelting, which is absolutely awesome. That means you can start making advanced tools. Weapons will come very shortly. So once you have your iron, you're going to need a furnace, or what we have here is a forge and anvil. These are some furnaces. And then you're going to use those to smelt. Now in order to actually make some furnaces, you're going to need this ability here, the construction materials preparation. You go to create and you make that furnace. It's going to require clay and stuff like that. And so what you do is you go inside your furnace, manage that smelting building. You put in some sort of fuel source. The best fuel source by none is charcoal that I found so far. You can put in like branches, you can put in logs, but you gotta make sure you've got a steady supply of logs going in because you'll find that they will go out quite shortly. But charcoal is really good, and in order to get charcoal, you get it from the kiln. And once you have the fuel source, you go into the managed smelting building, you light it on like this. The menu's not supposed to go away. That's the server just being an absolute derp with me at the moment. And what you have to do is you have to raise it up to 1,500 degrees, and you do this by using the bellows. Now, it has to be that high because, oh my gosh, I don't have any fuel source. It has to be that high because that's the temperature that you start melting your iron at. And I wish I had some iron in my inventory to show you. I mean, there's some just like situated right around me. But what you do is you put that iron into there, or whatever ore it might be. Usually a clump of like 80 iron would be a good clump, and then having like 2 logs in there, and that'll bring a total of 100 weight, because this capacity inside the furnace is only a maximum of 100. And once you keep the iron in there at 1,500 degrees, if you use the bellows every now and then, eventually the iron will actually get like a health bar on it, and it'll start heating up. You'll notice it. And once it gets to the very highest amount of that health bar, it's fully heated, you can go over to melt over here. And right now it says I can't do anything because I have no iron. But if you click on melt, then you can actually form some sort of iron bars or whatnot. But the thing you have to keep in mind, when you want to actually form like those iron bars, you need to have a crucible. Now if you want to start getting really advanced, like this forge and anvil where you can actually start crafting weapons and metal tools and armors and stuff like that, then what you're going to need is first off an anvil. And in order to get an anvil, you're going to need a clay form. So you're going to have to get some clay, and you're going to have to click on that clay so that you can form an anvil form. And what you're going to do is put that anvil form inside the furnace, heat it up, and then make an anvil from that. And that is one of the very important things to actually make this forge and anvil. But in order to actually make this forge and anvil, you need a construction level of 30. So that is actually like really high. Now in order to get construction to 30, it's an absolute pain in the ass, and I would highly recommend somebody specialized in constructing like everything in the village, because what they're gonna have to do is build fences. The initial thing that you'll make is these little wattle fences over here. They look really kind of pathetic, something that you keep like a chicken in. And then eventually when you get to construction level 20, you can start building these wooden fences, and that'll take you up to 30. So once you've grinded that out, you can actually make the forge and anvil. Now the forge and anvil is used exactly the same as a furnace in terms of heating it up, but you'll have a lot more options to actually do stuff with it if you have a primitive hammer with you. Such as you can make a blacksmith hammer, you can forge that, or you could make weapons, you could make other tools like hatchets and saws and whatnot. Now that covers everything from mining up until forging, and that was actually quite a lot, wasn't it? But that's like probably the biggest section of everything that I'm going to talk about. Now the other things like logging, carpentry, bowcraft, and warfare engineering are quite self-explanatory. If you just go about lumberjacking, you'll eventually get these, and once you actually unlock these abilities, you'll be able to craft different objects that other people can't craft. And you'll be able to do that by just looking at the ground, and there'll be like a carpentry option or something like that. Something that you can actually construct. And what it'll do is it'll form a sort of X sign like this, like a workbench. This is an example workbench over here. I can't use it because I don't have the carpentry skill, but if I did, I would see how much it would require to actually finish it. Alchemy is kind of a bit of a strange thing for me. It's a bit of a new front, so I can't speak a whole bunch about it, but I know that once you get herbalism to level 60, you can make naphtha, and you actually need that for, well, here, lanterns, candles, braziers, and a variety of other things like torches if you want to make. Construction is definitely the backbone of any colony. If you want to make stuff like these shacks, you're definitely gonna need to have construction, and in order to actually like level these things out and make these on level ground, you're gonna need terraforming and a shovel. And so what you're gonna do, a really good tip to make sure everything is leveled out, is to go to terraforming down at the bottom over here and go to observe, and you can see all the different levels. And what you want to do is you want to make sure in whatever radius or whatever area it is that everything is on the same level, all flattened out. Now farming to a lot of people might not seem like an important thing in the beginning, but it actually is very important once you start getting towards the intermediate stage. And you'll notice that because a lot of the things like the bigger houses that you want to build, and as you can see over here, I started planting in various vegetables. I think these are peas, I've got some carrots and some cabbage growing. You can't see them right now because they've barely grown at all. Now you might be thinking, oh, farming must be useless from that point. No, it is not, because in order to actually make rope, and you need rope to make like workbenches and also advanced buildings like actual houses, you need to have this procuration skill. So as you can see, it goes from farming to animal lore to procuration. So you're gonna need farming first in order to get animal lore, and in order to get animal lore, you're gonna have to start domesticating animals. But in order to catch small animals, you're gonna need a snare, and in order to make a snare, what you do is you go over to a branch that you've picked up. You're gonna go to fishing/hunting, create a snare, and it'll show you exactly what it requires to make a snare trap. All of these ingredients, so branches, fiber, and also an apple. And once you've created that, you can place it down. And the thing is, snares won't catch anything for a long time. It has taken me literally up to an hour in real life time before it catches anything. And once it has captured something, it'll be actually like sitting in a bag. You just go up to it, claim it, and either you'll get a hare, which is a rabbit, or you'll get a chicken. In order to domesticate those chickens or hares, you need to have a coop. And so once you've got a coop that your friend, a carpenter or whoever it might be, construction man, has actually built, then you just go into manage. You have something like a log, like a piece of paper that has a picture of a chicken or a hare on it. You just drag and drop it into the log section, and it'll automatically add that animal into the coop. So now this is a bit peculiar for me because I haven't managed to successfully raise my animals yet. I know you have to put food into the container, but we don't have a big variety of food in our village yet. So I don't think chickens and rabbits eat apples and cabbage too commonly. They might, I've seen them actually eat the apples, but they don't seem to be doing a whole lot. So this is still a frontier that I'm working on. So once you get your animal lore up, you can get procuration, and once you have procuration at level 30, you can make ropes, and these are very important for like literally everything. And in order to actually make rope, you're going to need a spinning wheel. I'm so damn sure we've got, here we go. We've got a spinning wheel over here. This is something that you would use to make it. There you go. I think that covers pretty much all the essentials of the intermediate stage. I know there's still a lot of stuff that I haven't covered, but that's stuff that you'll learn by yourself once you've actually started forging things, once you've got a kiln and you're starting to craft glass. And so I hope this guide helped you out, and if it did, then please leave a like, share it with some friends, because this has taken us a long time. We were completely in the dark when we were learning these things. We had to search it by ourselves, sometimes find out these things by ourselves, and I could imagine that this would be a really big help to a lot of people out there. But until next video, this is Dion, and I'll catch you next time. What is he doing? He's praying. Alright, I'll pray with him. Prolong hunger and try to not keep that. Oh my god. Right, so I've made it back to the camp. Now that hunger meter, in order to stave it off,